Okay, good morning, everybody. We're gonna do part 2 and hopefully finish this today. This is the N6671, and I'm doing B. And last night we ended off at the back yoke, and it just got too late. It was about 1 o'clock, and I was just tired of looking at my sewing machine. So we're gonna get our yoke on, and then I think we have the lace and the sleeves and then the hem. So we're almost there. And thanks for sticking around. I know this is a long video. Some of these patterns, there's just so much marking, basting, and you really need to, excuse me, baste and make your marks for the pattern to come out right. Okay, so let's start. Okay, so we have our back yoke. And from the, as I read it, as from the front, this is your front, you're gonna pin, matching your notches. So pin all this all the way around. There's a notch. Here's a notch. That up to the neckline. Okay, then on the back part here, right here, this is your back part. Match your notches. Okay, and we're gonna sew our shoulder seam, come around our neckline, and back out. Just be sure that you don't catch this finished neckline when you sew. So that's 5/8. So let me get that sewn and I'll be right back. Once you have that done, just be sure, go back in right in here and be sure that you didn't catch your finished or your front part of your shirt. Now we're gonna layer you're just gonna take off some of this bulk, so just trim, a little on each piece. Okay, once you have that, let me go get the puppy. His girlfriend's outside. The dog next door is his girlfriend. He's got to be out with her. Once you get this sewn on and clipped, you want to press it and get everything nice and straight. Because what you're going to do is understitch. And understitching is getting everything towards your back. And then you're going to stitch like right on the seam. So like right here. Let me get that over here. So get everything nice and flat, and you're just going to stitch along the seam, but iron it, get everything nice and flat, and then we'll come back and get this all tacked down. Okay, once you have that done, roll the back yoke so the seam is even. So just keep rolling this, getting everything the way you want. Sorry, my bird is going off. Okay, get everything nice and flat. Okay. Basting thread. Now, if you want, you can tack your yoke down in a couple spots. I mean, this is pretty good, so I don't think I'm gonna do that. So just iron it, press it good. Okay, on to the next step. Okay, now it's time for the lace. And I've been working on this for a few minutes. And I don't like how, let me show you if I can get this down. Sorry. Okay. I don't like how this, when it says just, you know, stretch it around, it kind of leaves a bubble. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take in like a little dart on my lace and then start it back up again. Because I really just don't like how that kind of looked. And I think that'll be all right. Once you get that done, just sew down the middle. Essentially, you're sewing like right on this seam of your shirt, all the way up. And don't forget to bend one of your ends over here on the top and get it as even as you can with that seam. And then just sew all the way around and do your other end over here. Okay, and I'll be back. Okay, I have mine all pinned. Oops, so that's what it's gonna look like. I gotta change my thread to cream color. And then I'll sew this and then I'll come back. And I think then we start the side seams and the sleeves. I'm gonna make my seam stitch just a little bit looser or bigger. That way it won't be pulling on the lace. So it just a little, and I think that'll help too. So I'll be right back. Okay, I got that done. And all I did was sew around here, but then I just tacked my my corners down, and that seemed to work pretty well. So the next thing we're going to do is sew our side seams. So match your notches together. There's a notch in there. And a 5/8 seam. Pin it in, so a 5/8 seam on both sides. And I'll be back. Okay, don't forget to change your thread and bobbin back to your main color threads. And be sure you got your stitch back where it should be, your stitch length. Okay, get number 7. This is your sleeve, the upper part of the sleeve. And your first stitch is 5/8. Once you have that finished, get your pattern number 8. So number 8. This is the lower part of your sleeve. And you're going to sew this to your upper part, matching your notch. Be sure you put your sewing machine stitch back to normal. Come back to your ironing board and you're going to press these seams upwards. I usually pull on my shirt, and that kind of, pulls that seam all the way up. Okay. Now you're going to sew your underarm seam. So turn this around, right sides together, and match your notches. Do both sleeves, and this is a 5/8 seam allowance. So I'll get these sewn up, and then we have to put lace on the sleeve. Okay, so same thing we did with the yoke. We're gonna put the lace around here. Remember to turn both ends, or you can overlap, but do it at the back seam so it doesn't show. Be sure that your seams are upwards. Don't forget to change your thread for your lace. And I'll get this on, and we're almost finished. We're getting there. We just got elastic and sewing the sleeve on and hemming. So we're almost there. Just iron your seam open here on your arm before you start. Press that seam upwards. Okay, before you sew, just put your sleeves next to each other and be sure that your lace is even with the other one. Okay, now that we have these done, we're gonna make the casing for the elastic. So just turn your sleeves inside out. You're gonna press under a 1/4 inch and then come up 7/8 of an inch. And then we're gonna pin along here. So just get this done and I'll be right back. Okay, just get your little ruler. 7/8 is very close to an inch. Yeah, it's just off. So I'm just gonna put mine at 1 inch and sew this down, or pin this down. Press and pin on both, and I'll be back. Okay, now we're gonna sew as close as we can to this fold line up here, leaving a space so we can get our elastic in. Just put your shirts together again and match this seam right here, and be sure that you're even. Okay, and let's get sewing. Don't forget to switch your threads out from sewing on your lace. You don't want to sew this with white, so. Okay, get your elastic. It's a 1/2 inch. And get piece 9. And you're gonna cut the elastic. I usually have to make it a little shorter. I have really small wrists, but once you get it in, you can adjust it. So I do cut it from their guide, but then I'll shorten it once I get it into the sleeve. So you need 2 pieces of this. Okay, get your safety pin, and you're just gonna run this through till you get to the other end. Okay, once you got it through, I usually just pin both pieces together. And I'm going to just put my wrist in there. So by the time I sew this, these will be just fine at that width or length. Okay, and like I've showed you in other videos, overlap it like this and measure to be sure how much you have here overlapped, 1 inch, and pin it. And you're gonna sew down the long way first. Then you can sew across on each end. And that way it just holds it better. A lot of people will sit there and put their elastic like this and then just, you know, sew it. Well, that leaves you a bump. But if you do it this way, it will leave it nice and flat for you. Okay, so you have kind of like an H looking thing. This is not gonna come apart. And then just scoop it in and sew up your little seam hole. Move your elastic around. Okay, and then just sew up your little hole, and I'll be back after I get the other one done. My aunt was a professional seamstress, and she taught me a lot of these tricks. And they seem to really help, and I hope they help you guys. This is essentially like old-time sewing. So I'll get all this done and I'll be back. We're gonna put the sleeves on. So you want right sides together. This is gonna be really pretty. And you're just gonna match your notches. and then we're gonna sew. Okay, once you get where your notches are in your seam, in your top seam, you're gonna take your ease thread and you're gonna kind of gather this to make it fit. So you just keep pulling on it, and you want it to get where it will fit. You want to look on the outside here. You kind of want to spread it apart so it's not like really bunched up. So I just kind of do a little, and then I pull the thread a little bit more, if I can grab it, there, and just gather it just a little bit more. It's not really gathering, it's, oh, I guess it is called little gathering. But you want to get that so this will lay flat to your shirt. So let me show you what I was doing, because I just noticed the camera was down, or not on the right angle. Okay, so you take your ease stitch. Here's my notch. And you do both your notches and both your seams. Then you're gonna take this little, it's this one. It's the top stitch here, your ease. My fingers don't wanna work. So you just kind of gather this just a little, enough where this is gonna lay flat with your material. I hope I explained that all right. Okay, and then I just kind of want to be sure that your ends are even. So I could actually bring this one down just a little. Okay, so there's one side. So then I just go to the front of the shirt. Let me get there. I want to pull out my pins. But you can see, okay, how it's just kind of eased in there. Okay, so you're gonna do that with both sleeves. And then we will sew a 5/8 inch seam all the way around. And then when we come to the underarm, about this, you know, notch to notch, we're gonna sew another, like an 1/8 right in here, just to give this some more strength. All right, let me get this other side done and I'll be right back. Okay, once you have your sleeves on, just inspect them, that you have them all sewn up and nothing is catching. Now we're gonna do the hem. So I'm gonna put mine inside out. And you're gonna do a 1/4 and then another 1/4. I'm gonna see about how long this is on me though. Yeah, that'll work. So turn a quarter and then turn another quarter and sew that up, and I'll be back. Okay, when you're done with your hem, just iron and go around, and if you have any loose threads, you can just trim them off. So I'm gonna go iron this. Okay, here we are. This is a size 10, and it fits me perfect. Okay, I know this was a long video. Believe me, I know. Tonight, I'm actually going to sew myself a bathrobe, but it's going to be a summer one. And I picked out this material. So we got through this pattern. We had a couple little bumps where I forgot to sew my neckline last night, and I had to take it apart and redo it, but we're back, and I really like this. This is a really nice shirt. Okay, so this was N6671. I think I had. Yeah. And it's the New Look. And I did this one. So, thank you for staying with me and watching through this whole video. I know it was long. It was a little challenging, just little different things I had to switch around, like with the trim or the lace. But we got through it. It is, I would say it's beginner friendly. You know, you just have to really look and see your instructions, what you're doing and everything. But anyways, thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe if you haven't. Please leave a comment if you make the shirt or any of the patterns that I've done. Please post a picture. I would love to see them. I've gotten some really nice compliments from people with my little tricks with the safety pin and the elastic. My aunt was a professional seamstress, and I sat on her lap, I think, when I was 5 years old, and learned to sew. And she taught me all through my life how to sew and how to finagle things if they just didn't work just the way you wanted them to. And I'm trying to pass those on to you all. And but anyways, I'm gonna go have lunch, and you all have a great afternoon, and I'll meet you back here tonight to make the bathrobe, which is 6233 New Look. All right, thanks.